time for another video. Yeah, sometimes I just be thinking about stuff, man, experiences and stuff like that. I was thinking about Peter Parker. You know how he let that dude go and he ended up killing his uncle. And then he ended up killing the guy, the crook, who ended up killing his uncle. But I was thinking, man, he needed to actually get at that promoter, man. He needed to kill him too. You know, because the promoter, he used nefarious means to kind of had a fight operate in a certain way, man. Sometimes people omit information, man. They say, I didn't tell you to do that, or this, you know, they try to make it seem like you didn't have to do something, or you should have read the contract. But my thing is, why would you make this contract? Why would you put fine print in the contract? Why is the contract full of legalese language that's hard for the average individual, the unlearned individual to comprehend? You can say the same thing with fewer words, with more concise words. You got a lot of rambling and legalese and all that stuff in contracts. You know, it's like my thing is, man, I just go by what I see. Might determines who's right. Now, Peter Parker, he was the strongest one in the situation. He didn't have to follow any of those rules. He could have just bashed everybody's head in that office and got his money. Some people say, well, that ain't the right thing to do. Might determines who's right. He's right as long as nobody can stop him. If nobody can stop him, he proved his case. If morality trumps what I did, it will stop me, right? Obviously, your morality is not strong enough. You gotta be a being who can come down and step down from the podium and put me in my place. They haven't done it yet. So far, they on my side. That's how might determines who's right works. It's like that in the animal kingdom and everywhere. People get afraid. A lot of black people get afraid of that. Some other folks, other races, they get afraid when they hear might determines who's right. But I didn't come up with that. I guess people think because it's a catchy thing to say. Might determines who's right. But it's the truth, man. Sometimes the truth is the simplest things. What do you see in nature, man? The mightiest thing. Somebody say, well, how's a snake mightier than a lion? Well, the snake's poison was mightier. In any given situation, the mighty thing. Some people trip over a marble, fall down and get took out, hit their head on the ground and dead. In that instant, it wasn't necessarily the marble, but it was the ground that was mightier. Hitting the ground against your head. The ground was harder, it was stronger, mightier than your skull. The stronger thing beats the weaker thing. It's the most obvious thing out here, man. You put out a gun and shot him, man. He couldn't fight like a man. That gun might determine who was right. Yeah, maybe not on a one-on-one, but that gun made him mightier. That gun or that knife or that mace gave him the advantage. See, people don't like that. They don't like having to move like that. You know, catch a fair one. In prison, man, you gotta catch a fair one. People in prison don't even fight with fair ones. They use shanks and all kinds of weapons. It's not about fear, man. It's like some people, man, most people, man, seek the path of least resistance, man, as far as they know it. A gun, a weapon is the path of least resistance. Conserving energy, that's the way of our universe, of our reality. Our Creator set these things in motion, man. Conserve energy. It's easier to shoot somebody or to stab somebody than to fist fight them. It's convenient. Just pull this lever and and that's it. But a muscle-bound guy, or the MMA guy, the boxer, the kickboxer looking for the brawl. This motherfucker pulled out a gun and took him out. And took her out. It's over. The mighty thing in the hand, the tool, defeated the situation. Somebody said, well, how somebody come looking for him? Yeah, it's going to take another mighty person with an advantage, more of the mightier advantage to win against that one who did the thing with their advantage. It's an infinite loop, man. But back to the Peter Parker thing. Peter Parker is supposed to actually take what he was owed. Well, you ain't owed. It ain't exactly how the rules go. You didn't do exactly. No, you was misleading. I got the might to prove you wrong. What you gonna do? I'm gonna get you, Peter Parker. Just snap his neck and just rip his head out off his shoulders. So somebody else mighty gonna have to come for Peter Parker. But what if they don't? He's gonna be proven right until somebody stops him. On the hypothetical Marvel comic side of the game. Same thing with the people who do wrong out here. Somebody gonna get you. Somebody gonna get you. Karma gonna get you. It's not karma, it's probability. You do things to people, you set off negative energy. You create enemies for yourself, enemies you don't even know you have. It's like Omar Little in The Wire. He never expected a little kid to take him out like that. That's what I'm saying. In that situation, the child with the gun was mightier than Omar. He had the advantage. Omar he never saw it coming. Might determines who was right. You know, you see it all the time in the animal kingdom. Some of them animals, they be trying to attack the lion and all that, and they get ate up. You know. So I go down, man. Mighty thing. So all you can do is hope to be mighty. Strive to be mighty. It's a hard task. Anything can happen. Any accident. Basically something you didn't calculate for. That's basically what an accident is. Something you didn't calculate. Tripped over something. You know, some little microbe or some weird, strange event. Fire. You know, carbon monoxide. Things you didn't prepare for or didn't anticipate. I like to say is outside your control. No, just too much data. The be on guard for everything. That's all it is. It ain't no it was your time. You just lack information. And you lack the will to implement it if you had that information. You might have been lazy about it. You saw the marble by the steps, but you didn't do nothing to move it. Or the nail, you know. Chain of events, man. It's just your time. And you want to say ignorance, you know. No, the world is full of information, and you may not have it all. There's nothing you can do. There's always things you can do. If you had the knowledge, you can cure any disease. You know, have your brain is blown off. If you had the technology, the power, somewhere on some world, technology is ultra advanced on the God tier level. They can make limbs. You might have a pea left for a brain that got blowed up. They might be able to reconstruct your whole mind from that pea-sized brain piece. Somebody say it ain't you. It might be you. Maybe that's the whole point of the soul. Once you're born, that piece that make you is what ties your soul together. You might not be the exact same you, but you'll sense that aliveness. You just be different. Personality will be a little different. Maybe a lot different. Still be you. It's very deep. But yeah, man, you got people out here, they draw the guns and all that on folks. They keep getting away with it until a mightier person or someone with a mightier advantage take them out. That's the karma. The karma's not. It's going to happen because it's supposed to happen. It may be inevitable. There's always somebody stronger, as they say. But it ain't had nothing to do with you had it coming. You only have it coming if somebody can take you out. You do have some villains who have got old and died. But then again, might determine who's right. What happened to them? They got old and died. Life wore them out. Time withered them away. The time was mightier than them. So somebody may say, well, everybody got that. How's that a punishment? That's what it is. Might determines who's right in everybody's situation. That's why, man, I don't like to be locked into moral things of morality. You can live your life without being locked into some kind of moral code. Morals as in good versus evil, man. It's not really what we think it is, what we've been trained to believe it is. You do good because it's logical to do good, quote unquote good. You know, you harm people, people gonna come looking for you. Period. That's why you do it, not because it's the good thing to do. You don't molest children. Why? Because somebody's parent gonna want you dead. The village gonna want to kill you. Because people gonna empathize and say, you might do my child like that. It's not about good and evil in the sense that there's some kind of energy, good and evil. It's good because you like it. It's evil because you don't. People say, why did God let things happen? Because it's kind of like what I'm saying. Might determines who's right. Our fears is not God's fears. Our Creator made everything. And really, man, if everybody believed they're gonna die anyway, how could you expect things as far as death not to happen? It's weird. It's just a weird reality, right? People say, when I die, I'm gonna have this on my coffin, in my coffin. Then something happened to you that leads you to that path that you believe was inevitable anyway. You act like it's something strange, right? So the longer I live, life do become more strange. Maybe start seeing a lot of contradictions in people. In myself, but I'm not gonna sit up here and say in myself because I'm supposed to say in myself, not to seem like some sense of morality. Because I have pride before a fall. Why does pride why does having too much pride or pride warrants a fall? What does pride do? Stop you from learning. I know enough. I know it already. But sometimes you do know enough against a certain person or against a certain situation. Like I told this guy, he's talking about church, truck and training school. He's talking about, going to church, he's trying to preach somewhat. But then I was just listening to some of the things he was saying. He said he was in a drought with women and all this stuff. Like, man, this guy fooling, man. Man, he didn't like what I was saying. Well, I don't go to church. Our preachers can't teach me nothing. They can't, man. They're not preaching what I'm preaching or what I'm telling, what I'm talking about. Bottom line is this, man. For those who get it, get it. And those who don't. I even heard a chick on Instagram say, "God, Jesus is God." I'm like, who was that bitch? I couldn't find her again. No, she wasn't on Instagram. She was on a live called Tag, a video chat live. A bunch of dudes, you know, tune in and give them gifts, tricking. So it's like, yeah, who that? Like, who told her that? That's basically what it is, man. People, you know, I tell people that they don't. It goes in one ear and out the other because they're not on that level of thinking, man. That's what Jesus was basically saying, man. I'm the interface. If you just listen to what he was saying, I'm the interface of our universe. Our universe is infinite. There's no one body you can't contain God, infinity inside of a body. It's impossible. That's why you can't see the face of God, man. Yeah, I'm taking it to this point. You can't see the face of God because you can't step outside of infinity to look at the face of infinity. It's not possible. You can't escape. All of us are inside of God, which is the universe. God creates emissaries of vessels. Christ. That's why when the Christ came back, he looked at different, because the Christ is not a one type of man. The Christ is anything our universe needs the Christ to be, to speak to us, to speak to the living beings. Burning bush, anything, hand on the wall, without a body attached, writing. Voice from the clouds, sounding like thunder. Somebody said, how can an infinite body be alive? That's the power of God. That's how powerful God is. God has an infinite body who can itemize himself at will. It's like it's a hard thing to grasp, to comprehend. You know, you got some scientists talking about our universe is finite. That's dumb logic, man. See, I gotta get serious with it. People need to wake the hell up, man. That's dumb logic. How could the universe, our universe, which is God, how can our universe be finite? Oh, it's a big old crunch. That's not even logical, man. You gotta think about a finite thing. Anything that's finite is contained, right? It has boundaries. So that means anything that has boundaries, that means there's something on the other side of those boundaries. You cannot escape this logic. I don't care if it's anomalous space on the other side of that boundary. It's still something. You don't know how expanded that something is. You just gonna say the Big Bang, or oh, this is the size of our universe, our known universe. No, our universe is reality, infinite reality. You're gonna sit up there and say the universe? That's some dumb, arrogant pride. This is the end of the universe, and that's just what it is. It's not logical, man. The logic is our universe, reality itself, is infinite. It has no end, and it's supposed to, and it makes sense. Because if you give it an end, I mean, it's a barriers, boundaries. If you make a thing have an ending, that means it's automatically surrounded. It's encapsulated. As soon as you say the end, it's a circle around it. Its boundary is walled off. And when the thing is walled off, what's on the other side of that wall? There's nothing. Something is nothing. Then that nothing is something. That something is nothing. There's something on the other side of it. How could you define its boundaries if it's a three-dimensional thing? So it's just nothing, huh? It's more wall. How far did that wall extend outside of the universe? It's walled off. Y'all say That's the end of the universe. It's walled off, right? Just walled off, huh? That's the end, huh? That's like the Tootsie Roll commercial, man. How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. 3. It's not 3. It's just what you decided you wanted it to be, because you didn't have the discipline to keep looking at Tootsie Pop. Ow. So you made it 3. That's exactly what the scientists do. I call them whites and white lab coats, because they're the one who comes up with these theories and ideas. They try to force feed the public like people are stupid, man. Some people ain't gonna catch on, or some will. Like me. Like, man, I don't make no damn sense. Big Bang, okay, the Big Bang. All come from a condensing of energy. All right, where that energy come from? It's just here, huh? You can accept that. You can accept that the energy is just energy, and that's what it is. But you can't accept the fact that our universe is infinite. You can't grasp it because you're looking for an ending. That's not the correct way of thinking when it comes to our universe. God, our creator, I should say. You gotta stop looking for an ending. You gotta embrace the infinite expanse. You gotta embrace it. There's no way around it. And that's another thing about space, traveling in space. Long distances in space, how you gonna get around the psychological factor? Yeah, you have some people, some astronauts who can accept the infinite factor, no up and down. But it'll be easier on a huge spaceship. If the spaceship was larger, huge, couple of miles or something, the larger the better. It would alleviate psychological harm. Because not being used to the concept of up or down, that could be kind of psychologically taxing. Because you got to factor all that stuff in. Space travel, deep space travel. You know, looking out a window, just pitch black, stars speckled around. But really, up and down doesn't really exist. That's the truth. You know, that's the real truth. I remember when I was a little child, it can still happen. You kind of like put your head, like you kind of like put the top of your head on the ground and then look up at the sky or something. You can almost have a panic attack. You realize it almost like you realize you think you're gonna fall. But here's the truth for that. For some of y'all who might have a panic attack about that, if the gravity would have disappeared, the whole earth would break apart. It would just start breaking apart. You really wouldn't fly. You wouldn't fly nowhere. You wouldn't go up or nothing. You would just, the earth would sweep right under you. It would sweep right under us. You know, that's what would happen. It'll break apart because the sun still has its gravity. It just pull the earth. There would be no falling. It just, people would be floating. So that can alleviate some fear right there. What if you fall upwards? How you gonna fall upwards? There gotta be some kind of gravitational pull to pull you up. Then how far is gonna keep pulling? Space is up there. You know, we're in a massive globe. It's so huge, people think it's flat. But just what it is, man. People always talking about when I die. Yeah, I know they came into some, and it went off into the deep end. Some might be thinking, I'm just gonna put it all out there, you know. It's always a good time for a different perspective, knowledge. got something to tell. Yeah, man. People always talk about when they die. This is the magical world. People's perspective is all wrong, man. This is the magical place. Look at the sky, man. This is a giant sphere we living on. With clouds in the sky. This is magic, man. Don't be deceived about the hard-coded laws. See, what make it seem like it's not magic is the hard-coded laws of our reality. Our Creator made these laws that's dependable. They gotta be hard-coded, man. Like, water is wet, fire is hot, you hit the ground, just instant stop. Or if it's not instant, it'll break in a little bit. But you'll see why it broke in a little bit. It gotta be that way, man. Why it gotta be that way? So you have a psychological cohesion. If the world was a magical place, everything topsy-turvy, nothing dependable. One minute water is wet, now it's some kind of hot thing or acid. It was just morphing into a bunch of stuff. How you gonna trust it? How you gonna trust it? You gonna have some kind of psychological. It ain't gonna. Nothing to be able to last. Life won't even be able to work. These laws is hard coded, man. Bam. That's what it is. It's been like this for thousands, millions, billions of years. Some people, man, that's why they don't comprehend. This is how it has to be. These laws have to be hard coded the way they are. Like, bam. This is a rock. This is a rock. It's been like this forever down there. It's not a rock today and then some water the next, or some jelly. It's a rock, and that's what it is. You're gonna always be a motherfucking rock. That's what our Creator said. You're gonna be this thing, and that's what it is. That's the foundation. That's stability. It's called stability, folks. Trust and believe. You wouldn't want to be in a magical place, man. Could your mind deal with it? How can a human mind deal with, or I should say a mind that's thinking typically like a human deal with a magical place? You go insane, man. You're like, I don't have to walk, I can just teleport. Would you ever walk? You would teleport everywhere? Would you be able to take in the sights? How would there be some kind of gauging of distance? You teleported everywhere. It's like turning the page. It'd be 2D. The way you would travel would be in 2D. There would be no depth perception of how you travel anywhere. You're just teleporting everywhere. Now that can work if you're trying to cover great distances, but you gotta have an understanding of why you're doing this. You can't just, I don't feel like working, or I don't feel like doing this, building this thing. I'm just gonna change this mountain into a building. Like, you have nothing, it'll be nothing you couldn't imagine to do, but it'll be a thing that's trapping you too. Hold it wrong. If you can do anything you want, who can tell you no? And if nothing can tell you no, you're a slave to your desires, man. You'll destroy yourself. You'll go into a state of chaos. You'll put yourself in hell. It's like the Twilight Zone. See, sometimes white society get it correct. Like that crook, he died, he said, it must be heaven. But that's not really what it was. It was hell. He got everything he wanted, won all the time. But he couldn't deal with it. But that's not the reason, but to make having omnipotent power will make you go insane. You gotta have a foundation, man. And that's pretty much, that's the Bible story, man. The Garden of Eden story. That's the whole point of the Garden of Eden story. or the lesson to it. That's why the tree was there. God was saying, like, you can have omnipotence, but this is something you can never eat from. This is the no that's going to keep you grounded. If you can't survive the no, you're not going to survive. If you can't not do something, everything is going to control you. So you got to think about, why would God give them everything and then tell them they can't do something? Why would he do that? Why would he do that? What the hell? What's going on out here? But that's the thing with that. Like, do people really ask? They just think, God said we can't do something. We can't eat from this tree. Why not? See, that's what Eve did. See, people like to try to say a snake, blame it on a snake. Snakes can't talk, man. Eve lied. That's the whole point of that story. She lied. You know, if somebody get caught, a child get caught doing something, because Adam and Eve, they was pretty much naive to the ways, to the world. They was freshly created. So their knowledge and experience was limited. Even though they lived for a long time, it was based on what they knew. A paradise environment. But she got caught and lied and said a serpent made her do it. And it alludes to how God in that scripture kind of talks to Eve, almost like cryptic, because he knew that's what she did. She lied. So God cursed her, a snake. No, man, she lied. It's as simple as that. She got caught, and like any child who get caught doing something, they blame it on something. And then Adam blamed it on her. Well, he did it. So why would the trend start with him blaming it on somebody? She lied. That ain't what the Bible say. Yes, it is. If you can read between the lines. Think about it. God put them in the garden and then put an enemy amongst his children. The enemy was curiosity. Eve kept seeing that tree day in and day out. So why I can't eat from this tree? It's here. Made up a story in her mind to justify it. But here's the thing, that tree is always going to remain. The tree ain't never going nowhere. The tree is a symbolic node. This is what you can't do. You have everything, but you can't do this. You gotta have self-discipline, man, to be a God, to be omnipotent. There's some things you can't ever do. Why are some things you can't ever do? Because you won't have a foundation. All this reality around is hard-coded. People, when I say hard-coded, people make laws of physics and science around it. The science can only work if the laws of reality was hard-coded, right? Not changing, dependable. I think I said enough on this to be continued, at least for now.